In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Crypto fam, it's your boys, CryptoKeeper and the BlockchainCrusader. First of all, I do want to say I apologize. We apologize for being a few minutes late. We are trying to fix it. I told Miguel he has a lot of nerve having a baby. You know what I mean? It's like, geez, dude, can you not like?
They can't handle.
I just don't understand why you can't just tell your baby, listen, you got to be quiet for a little while. We've got streaming to do, right? Just like my daughter, right? 7.5 months old. Hey, baby,
they just don't understand, man. They don't understand the fame. They don't.
They don't. It's out of control. But yeah, guys. So thank you guys for being here. If you are new here, make sure that you subscribe, smash the likes, guys. That is the one thing that YouTube knows, or the one thing that YouTube and the algorithm, helps us out. So we would appreciate the love there. Also, guys, just as a quick reminder, our Twitter, we haven't been talking about our Twitter much, but our Twitter is now listen, there's a fake Twitter out there. Okay, guys. So it's not just Debate Crypto, because trust me, that would have been too easy, right? Yep. It's Debate Crypto OG, just like most of the people in this chat. Y'all are the OGs. That's right. Debate Crypto OG. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter as well. We would appreciate that. And then just as a reminder, if you're not in the Academy yet, hey, Academy members, we are giving away that market cipher here real soon. So be ready. Sir. Somebody is going to be doing some analyzation with the market cipher. So we're excited to give that away. But Miguelito, I heard the topic tonight is a fun one that kind of...
It's not my favorite, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's not your favorite. What if Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation?
Oh, man.
Heidi said she has her tinfoil hat on, so I'm happy to hear that, Heidi. She said that earlier before we actually locked in and got in here. So excited for that, guys. It's going to be a fun night. Let's start off though real quick with a little market watch, right? Let's do the thing there. All right, let's see here. So as you guys probably know, global crypto markets. Let me update this because sometimes it moves around.
I don't know how they can say we're in a bear market. Crypto Sword is up 600%. Ninja Floki up
such 200%, a good point,
bro.
Such a good point. You know what? I that's a really good metric. We should probably continue to use that metric to see where we're in a bear market. Whether these biggest gainers off, biggest gainers off coin market cap. I mean, come on, like that's how we always tell bear market what. So yeah, Bitcoin down 2.76%. I do want to throw out there, guys, I'm in a 25x long right now that I am making a couple dollars on. Listen, if Bitcoin's going to go down, if I'm short, what did I say? Long? No, I'm definitely not in a 25x long. I'm in a 25x short. If Bitcoin's going to go down, you know what? I'm over it, right? If you're going to go down, well, then I'm going to make some money while you go down. So we'll leave it at that. ETH down 2.79%. BNB down about 3%. Guys, same story, same song, same dance. Solana down almost 7%. Terra down 10%. Guys, the Fed meeting today, we're going to talk about that here in just a second. It didn't end up it helped this morning. Like the market was pumping this morning, and I was like, what's going on? What'd you think this morning, Miguel? When
what that reminded me of with the pump and then dump was it's almost like when you go to they invite you out to a barbecue. And you're like, oh man, I can't wait to eat one of those nice juicy burgers, right? And you get your burger, but when you get there, there's a few red flags, right? Barbecue's not on. You're wondering what's going on here, and then when they serve you that burger, you're like, it tastes good, but it tastes different. What is it? And then they tell you, oh, it's a vegan burger, and it's like, oh, what the? I don't want this garbage. Right? That's exactly what happened with the Fed meeting today. We had that pump. We were all excited thinking this was it for Bitcoin, and we're going to go into this massive rally. Federal Reserve came out and destroyed those dreams real quick.
There's a place in Columbus, Ohio, and I don't know if I don't think they're not a chain, but it's called Bear Burger, Bare Burger, and they have like all sorts of exotic type meats. No, no, real meat, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
literally the best hamburger I've ever had in my life, hands down, was not a hamburger, as it's an elk burger. And elk is one of the leanest meats you can have, and I'm not kidding you. It I don't even know. The burger probably tasted better than a filet mignon. It was just absolutely, I mean, to die for. So that's what we need out of Bitcoin, right? I want to bite into it, and I just want that. And you know what I've been getting? I've been like drinking spoiled milk recently. It's like, ugh. It's kind of how I feel about the markets right now. But real quick before we dive into this a little bit further, I do want to hit something real quick. So Daniel was just asking. I know Daniel's newer to the crypto space, so I wanted to hit this real quick. One YouTuber who I thought was good at TA said altcoins will lose 90 to 100%. Is this right? Well, the answer is it's happened, and that is what has happened in the past.
Yeah,
Do we know that that's what's going to happen this time? We don't, but that is what's happened in the past. That is a
in the past. Just to clarify, Bitcoin has dropped 80 something percent, and when Bitcoin drops 80 something percent in its bear markets, the altcoins drop 95 to 99% as well of their value, right? So if Bitcoin drops a lot, you can always double that amount into the altcoins. They're going to drop a lot harder. So if we see Bitcoin dropping 80% again, we could be seeing something like that for the altcoins, but maybe this time is different.
Maybe it's different. So speaking of this time, let's check out real quick. Let's head over to TradingView real quick. I want to show you a couple things. So I'm on the daily here. If you look, I've drawn two here. I'll kind of give you a little bit better look here so that you can see a little bit better. I've got two trend lines that I drew right now. That's a terrible representation there, but right there and right there. So I did those two trend lines, right? And I've got them in blue, obviously. So we are in a falling trading channel, okay? So I just want to show you a couple of just the kind of bearish things that are going on, okay? So we're in a falling trading channel there on the daily, and then they always tell you, when in doubt, zoom out, right? So, okay, let's zoom out to the weekly. All right, we zoom out to the weekly. And what do we have here? Oh, hold on a second. It can't be. A penis? No, I mean, a head and shoulders? We've got a head and shoulders on the weekly, guys, right? So let's just be at least realistic, right? On the weekly, the money flow is headed down, momentum wave headed down, RSI in the tank, right? Then we go over to the daily, right? Let's check that out. On the daily, we actually a couple days ago, what is that, 2-3 days ago, had a double green dot print. But hey, we got the little run up, boop, boop, boop. And now, unfortunately, we're headed back. Only thing I see really nice here is how low the RSI is. And we've got a little bit of a momentum wave moving up, and the money flow starting, it looks like, to curve. It's not looking good, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but what are we gonna do? We gonna not keep it real? I don't know, you know. So let's get into the what if Wednesday.
We got to keep it real always on this channel, right? That's why we're doing this. One of my least favorite episodes. This topic about Bitcoin not being a hedge against inflation.
That's right. Miguel is feeling very very minimalish on this.
Well, I'm not. I'm still very maximalist on Bitcoin, but I'll never lie, right? I'll always be. I'm not an XRP person, right? I don't lie. So I will bring it honestly. When Bitcoin's failing at something, it's failing, and when it's doing good, right? And we need to talk about that.
Yeah, no doubt. And for those of you that are new, that was Miguel's attempt at taking a shot at me with the XRP talk, just to keep everybody on the same page there. If you guys are new, so again, as always, Barmy, before we one more thing, said, yeah, and last time we got a head and shoulders, we're hitting all new all-time high. Those patterns are meaningless and metaphysical. Well, I got to tell you, Barmy, dear, the reality is that technical analysis is just one piece of the market. So if anybody tells you that A, it's a science, right, and B, that it's a guarantee, it's not, right? We could absolutely have 5 of the most bullish patterns, one after the next, and the market could still dump, right? It's a piece of the
Well, yeah, I
puzzle.
mean,
It's something that traders use, right? But you are correct. It can be meaningless, but as a general rule, it shows history. Like when these patterns show up, traders are actually trading off of those patterns, right? And if enough people, even if, listen, let me explain it this way. If in the past Head and Shoulders wasn't a bearish, right? And a bunch of traders just said, oh, that's a bullish pattern, right? And statistically, people started trading off of that being a bullish pattern, right? Well, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because enough people start trading off of an idea. It doesn't matter what the idea is, just enough people agree to it and it can head that way. But yes, you are correct that it can be meaningless. The market does what the market wants to do. So getting into that, let's talk about it, Miguel. So what if, kick us off, Miguel. I've been talking too much. What if Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation? And tell me what that looks like. We're going to look at the good, the bad, the ugly this evening.
So the argument can be made, right? And we've seen it, right? There is correlation between the stock market and Bitcoin and the crypto market, right? Stock market drops, Bitcoin drops. And if you were a hedge against inflation, we shouldn't be seeing these massive drops right now, right? And inflation is happening more and more than ever. Yeah, Bitcoin didn't really reach the price points that it should have, or that people were predicting it could have hit with the amount of inflation that happened. Right? We're seeing inflation at 40-year high. Yet, even though there's talks of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, it shouldn't matter. Bitcoin should still be skyrocketing right now, not dropping, because we're still at a 40-year high of inflation. And even if these steps are taken, inflation is not going to disappear overnight. It will take a long time for that inflation to start eventually coming down. And we're not seeing that behavior from Bitcoin. We're seeing Bitcoin following the stock market and instantly dropping pretty heavily, honestly. Yeah. So people are skittish about Bitcoin being a hedge against inflation.
Let's talk about the good first. We'll go good, we'll go bad, and then we'll go ugly if we may. So let's go good. Okay, so you hear people all the time talk about, Bitcoin to $1 million, Bitcoin to $500,000, right?
Yeah.
Let me just say this. So could that be a good thing? Well, sure. Obviously, everybody in this chat, unless you just are a perma bear, wants Bitcoin to be $1 million, because assuming that you own Bitcoin, or even if you don't and you own other assets, those other assets are going to be lifted by Bitcoin being $1 million. However, if a cheeseburger from McDonald's is $142, then $1 million Bitcoin probably isn't too big of a deal, right? And so I'm obviously being very extreme with a $142 cheeseburger from McDonald's, but let's be real. I might be showing some age here, but I remember when I could get a full combo from from Wendy's, from McDonald's, from all these trash places for like $3, right? They're literally like 10. I
$10.
mean, 10's a pretty, some are going to be more towards 12, some are going to be a little bit more towards 8.50 or 9, but they're like $10, right? And where does that come from? It's not from grade A quality meat stepping up to the plate. No, it's from inflation. It's from our money being worth less and less and less and less, and that number goes up, and it might feel like you're making, when you take a check, or when I charge somebody for a construction job a certain price. Well, if you haven't priced in the inflation, guys, you're going to be spending it faster than it's coming in, even if the number coming in feels bigger, right? Because you've continued to make more money. Well, if you're losing it at the same rate, and so, yeah, that burger versus Bitcoin. So the good thing, back up, the good thing could be if we could actually, and Miguel, I want to hear your thoughts on this. If we could actually somewhat control the inflation at the point where we're at now, then one of the good things about inflation is going to be that under controlled circumstances, we will be able to continue to see Bitcoin as a general rule start to come up, not just from the inflation. What I'm saying is its intrinsic value coming up and not at some massively fast pace because of, I don't know. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
The thing is that, yeah, I know what we're trying to say, right? The problem is right now, a lot of people are hoping for more inflation because more inflation would cause Bitcoin to continue to rise. But if Bitcoin is not rising at the proper rate against inflation, right? Even though we'll see a higher priced Bitcoin, that Bitcoin, what are you going to do with $1 million Bitcoin if it just barely kept up with inflation, right? So if we go into hyperinflation and it takes $1 million to go buy a loaf of bread, and then you have $1 million or $2 million Bitcoin, what are you going to do? You're going to buy? You're going to spend the whole Bitcoin to buy 2 loaves of bread, right?
Like the pizzas.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So like Bitcoin needs to outperform inflation by multiple fold, right? 10-fold, 20-fold, 50-fold, 100-fold, right? To really keep up. And if we get to $1 million Bitcoin by 2030, but inflation has continuously continued throughout this decade, and we get into this hyperinflation, for Bitcoin to be worth actual millions of dollars, it can't be $1 million by 2030. It's going to have to be multiple millions of dollars, right? And if we don't see that happening, so with people wanting inflation, you're actually wanting Bitcoin to rise artificially. It's not really rising in natural value. So we need to be very careful with this artificial big number in Bitcoin. Yet when it comes down to to actual buying power, there is not enough buying power behind the Bitcoin. It's just an artificial thing because the dollar has lost so much value, and people are very focused on the dollar amount of Bitcoin.
Yes, and that's a problem. Let me pause real quick. First of all, Daniel, thank you for the super chat. I do want to throw something out there, Daniel. If this was truthful, which I know it's not, if this was truthful, this should have been about a $500 super chat, right? Because XRP would be at 10K a piece, right? And we're to the moon, baby. Let's go. And it should have been a $500 super chat. I'm just giving you a hard time, dude. No, hey, listen. If we come up with a $10,000 XRP, I don't need your $500 super chat. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be passing out $500, but I'm going to be wiping my what with $500. I'll tell you what. But again, at any event, yeah. Thank you for the super chat, dude. I'm just being silly. We do appreciate it. And hey, listen, I hope that obviously XRP wins, the case and does save crypto. So I am with you. Okay, so the good, right? The good on Bitcoin. And actually, hold on. Before we get into the bad, the ugly, let's hit a couple comments here real quick. Let's jump into the let's jump into the chat here real quick. Let's see here. Danny says, first YouTube channel ran like a DAO. I love it. For those of you that are new, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization where essentially the people have the voting rights. And that's, that's what we want this to be, right? We really do. So Danny, I appreciate the love on that. That is absolutely what we'd like this to be. We want this to be about you guys. Miguel and I will run our jibs and whatever, but we try to keep you guys, on the forefront, and we want you guys to throw your input in there. That's why we want to keep you alive in the chat. Let us know what's going on. If we're missing something, let us know. We want you guys to be a big part of this too. And you are, because if not, Miguel and I could be sitting in our studios facing the corner, just talking to drywall. That would be effectively what we would be doing without a following. Yes. Okay. So the good on inflation is that if we were, so if you're just joining in, what if Bitcoin isn't a hedge against inflation, right? So the first part of it, of the good, the bad, the ugly, the good is if we were able to control the rate at which this inflation was happening. And here's the big and that Miguel was
just talking about.
It's not about
controlling the inflation of the rate of inflation. It's about Bitcoin outperforming.
It's the outperformance of the rate of inflation, right? So, okay, I guess it could go out of control, but if we continue to outperform it, it wouldn't matter. Yes. So the performance of Bitcoin, thank you. The performance of Bitcoin versus that inflation needs to be exponentially higher, right? So the only good part about it would be basically that we are outperforming said inflation. Because other than that, guys, listen, you're going to hear people try to put the argument out that inflation is a good thing, right? The only argument that could ever be made, in my estimation, that inflation is a good thing or can be a good thing, is that it drives people to spend more money and continue to keep, the wheels turning. Other than that, how can you say devaluing your currency is a good thing? It just doesn't make sense. It's like, hey, if I walk into my house, right, and I have 100 kitchen tables, how valuable is sitting down at my kitchen table? Like, it's not. There's just a ton of them. It doesn't even matter. And I know that seems like such a stupid idea, but what I'm trying to get at is it's stupid that we think we can print trillions of dollars and not have an economic impact. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, so the bad. So the bad, I think, Miguel, we're living in right now and headed towards possibly the ugly. When you print 40% of what the total amount of bills ever in circulation in the last like 18 months to 24 months, that's going to cause a problem. So my question then to you, Miguel, is if we have printed at this exponential massive rate and Bitcoin is down, how do we still make the argument that now we're talking about printing, which is obviously creating inflation, right? So we're expanding the monies in circulation, but yet Bitcoin year over year this past year is what? We're down. We're down from I think I can pull up the chart, but I think we're down this point last year. We're down. So how do we print all this money? This is where I think it gets bad. How do we print all this
Yeah.
money, create all this inflation, and we're down?
Well, the reason why this happens is because institutions are here, governments are taking an eye on Bitcoin, right? And they want to make Bitcoin look bad. They want to make sure that people are not getting involved in Bitcoin and they are accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible while keeping prices down, right? They can buy things over the counter, they can buy directly off the miners, yada, 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 accumulate as much Bitcoin, as much crypto as possible, right? Then have this proof of, well, you see, during times of inflation, we did not see Bitcoin performing the way it wanted to perform, right? They have connections to all these media centers to be making all these foot articles and making Bitcoin look bad, making crypto look bad as an investment, a non-safe investment, right? It's only for money laundering and so forth, yada, yada. Meanwhile, these institutions and whales really position themselves, really take control of the market. And when they deem that it is safe and it is profitable and it's good for the people, then they'll sell it back to us like it's this miracle cure to the financial problems that we've been having. Have it involved in all of our 401ks, RRAs, retirement plans, so forth, so on. And then everyone's going to say, well, holy smokes, I really want to buy some of this Bitcoin. I really want to buy some of that. And you will. They'll sell it to you, but they'll be selling you crumbs, right? You'll never gain financial freedom with the crumbs you're buying. When there is a transfer of wealth that happens, if you're the last person to jump on the bandwagon for the transfer of wealth into this new currency, into this new, what's the word? Uh, Power scheme, right, of wealth, you are going to continue being poor. The people that become rich in the transfer of wealth are the early adopters, and that's what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to scare the early adopters out so they can position themselves, reclaim the power that they have in the traditional systems in the crypto space to then be able to sell us back the dream, right? Just how they sell you the dream that you can get financially free through a 401k, an IRA when you're 60 years old as a retirement plan, not and then be a wage slave your entire life, working for that, 10 years of freedom.
So you think so then let me ask something then. Do you believe that because that these institutions have almost the same amount of control over these markets as the Fed has over printing money?
Yes and no. The things that they do amazingly well, whether it's the institutions themselves or just a combination of institutions, whales, and other people running the show, running the puppets of the show, is they can sway the sentiment. They can sway
Okay.
the sentiment of the people investing into these assets. It's not so much that they can manipulate the price down themselves. It's just they can put enough confusion and fear out there that people themselves will withdraw from the market and not want to participate, and then make things look terrible, right? Everybody last year, January of last year, Bitcoin was at $40. The greed was at 90. People were ecstatic about a 40K Bitcoin. We hit
Mm-hmm.
40K again now, and people were in utter massive fear at a
Yeah.
13, at a 10, right? The
Yeah.
lowest we've seen the fear and greed index. So what is the difference of a 40K Bitcoin in January of 2021 and a 40K Bitcoin in January of 2022?
News
Absolutely
and
nothing.
social media. News and social media. That's what it is.
Exactly, right. The sentiment, the narrative that they've drawn around it, that now a 40K Bitcoin is bad. Back in the previous year, a 40K Bitcoin was good, right?
Right.
But it's still a 40K Bitcoin.
Right.
One Bitcoin will always be one Bitcoin, and 40K will always be 40K, right? So why was it good 1 year and bad the next year? You would think it'd be a great buying opportunity. You'd be even more bullish, saying, well, I missed it on the first way up. I'm going to definitely be buying up a lot more now. But that's not the sentiment that we have.
Well, inflation has definitely not made 40K, but I understood what you meant.
Yes,
Um,
yes, you know what I mean.
we've definitely been messing with that, but no, I know what you meant. So I think the interesting thing is, Miguel, that we, the retail trader, the dumb money, if you will, beat the institutions to Bitcoin, right? Like people
Yeah,
in their, as they always say, like, people bought Bitcoin in their mom's basement, right? In massive numbers, and there are a number of them. It's not a ton because a lot of people would have taken profits, if you bought multiple Bitcoin on the penny or multiple Bitcoin on the dollar or whatever, right? But there's a lot of people that were, quote, in their parents' basement that are now millionaires and billionaires, and that's just a fact, right? So I believe that the inflation narrative is also a distraction. So part of the bad also is that the government that all right, where we're at in our world today. I talk about this a decent little bit, but we always have to have something to point our not I shouldn't say we, our government right now, and not just the United States, but all over the world needs things to point at. This is the problem. This is the problem. And I believe that our monetary policies, and not even just the policies, but the rate of inflation, even before it, now, listen, I know this is going to sting a little bit, but even before we had Brandon in office, right? Even before that, we were year over year over year over year inflating and inflating and inflating and inflating, and at some point, guys, the jenga falls, right? The blocks fall. And so I do believe, and this is, it's what if Wednesday, so I'm going to throw this in there. I do believe that part of the inflation narrative is part of this new world order, right? Drop a one in the chat if you genuinely are on board with me and believe that part of the greater, um, aspect of what's going on, if you believe that part of it has to do with need something to point at so that when the Jenga blocks fall, we have they're going to give us the solution to build it back up. And what I mean by that is they knew the inflation was already running rampant when they came and started to print trillions more dollars to, quote, fix all of these people who didn't have enough money to live and survive, right? They knew exactly what they were doing, right? When Brandon also put in, I don't even know what the policy is, but there's some sort of policy where parents are getting some sort of checks throughout the year now. I don't know what the details are, but my understanding is, guess what? It's tax season now, guys. And when those people that were taking those checks realize, holy crap, that actually comes off of my what would have been a tax return. They're probably listen, it's the same freaking thing. It's something else to point at and then kick the can down the road. Point over there, kick the can down the road. Point over there, kick the can down the road. And at some point, we've kicked the can to a wall. And right now, I think this is where we're at. This is where it gets ugly. So we've talked about the good, we've talked about some of the bad, which is where I think we are now. And now we've kicked the can up against a wall, and we're getting to the ugly, right? Now, what do we do? So what do we do? Like, Miguel, what are they? I know you have thoughts versus what I have, and we'll debate this a little bit. But my question is, what do you think they do at this point? We heard the meeting today, and the Fed did what? Nothing. So the Fed has been saying 0 to 0.25% rate hike, blase, blase, blah. They had the meeting today, and we might as well have just slept through it because they didn't tell us absolutely anything. It's still 0 to 0.25%.
It's exactly what I've been
coming in
telling
March.
you.
So
right?
so go ahead. Tell the new people what you think's going on.
They know that we are on a roller coaster. We're on a way down an icy road at full speed, and
Okay.
we cannot hit the brakes on this road. We can slow down. We can take our foot off the accelerator and try to slow down, but we're still going to be picking up speed. Right? We're heading down, but
Okay.
we'll be taking our foot off the accelerator to not accelerate as much. But we're still headed down. If we slam the brakes, if we hit the brakes, you're going to spin out of control, go into a black spin, and crash and burn. Right.
Okay.
And that is what happens if they try to stop printing. What people don't understand is that the dollar has been in trouble way before this 40% circulation was printed in the past 2 years.
Yep.
The dollar has been in trouble since the minute it became monopoly money. When did it become monopoly money? In 1971, when we took it off the gold standard, right?
Yeah.
We were today on Around the Blockchain, Crypto Lifer, right? He brought it up. People don't understand this. Gold was taken away from people, and people were forced to give up their gold in 1970s as they were forced to continue using fiat, not being backed by gold anymore. The dollar became monopoly money, and once they did that, the Federal Reserve and the government can do whatever they want, print as much as they want, to finance whatever they want, because we're stealing from our future selves, right? We're just stealing from our future selves every time we're printing, and we're devaluing the dollar. So once people understand this, that the dollar is not money, it is not money, guys. You can hold all the monopoly money from your monopoly game in your hand all you want, and it can say a 1, it can say a 5, but it's not real, right? Just because we're living in a monopoly game right now where we think we're walking around with real money because we can buy things with it. We are literally, you can literally call it a simulation if you want. We are pretending to buy things with money when it's not real money. That's the dollar. It's not real. Even though you can buy things with it, people, all they care about is, well, I can buy stuff with it, so it's real to me. Well, you can pretend all you want, and you can live in this fantasy world, right? But it's not money. It is not the definition of money. Gold was what made the US dollar money and valuable. Without gold, the dollar is just a piece of paper.
And so people would argue for those. So if you're new to debate crypto, we like to. So we actually are starting by the way, Saturday night, full on debate. BlockchainCrusader versus Zach Rector. If you guys are looking for a great XRP debate, guys, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you guys should be there, right? It's gonna be dope. But part of what we do is we debate some ideas, and I want to throw this out there, Miguel, that people would say, well, then what's Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin isn't backed, quote unquote, by anything, right? And so how would you rebut that? You obviously know, I know, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't
Bitcoin
agree with this. Tell me why.
Bitcoin is a digital format of gold.
Okay.
It solves all the problems that gold solves and more. And that is why Bitcoin is the hardest form of money. It is the next evolution, the digitization of gold. That's what
Tell me how it beats gold. Tell me the things that Bitcoin does that it's gold 2.0. Well, tell me why.
One, it doesn't need a middleman, right? Gold right now, when you buy gold, whether it's physical gold or gold shares, because most people just buy gold shares,
right? They're buying derivatives,
physical gold. They're buying derivatives of gold that says it's an IOU. It's like you we owe you some gold, but you don't have no idea what that gold really is or if that gold even really exists, right? Right now, when you buy real gold, if you buy it from Peter Schiff or whatever it is, right, they transfer this gold. They transfer this gold to a special vault account where that is under your name, and that gold is technically there. Bitcoin solves the problem where you don't need to trust anybody. I have the Bitcoin. I send it directly to you. There is no middleman. You will receive the Bitcoin. Bitcoin makes you your own bank. You don't need to depend on somebody else holding custody of your money. That's one thing, right? It solves that issue. It solves the issue of being you can transfer. Go ahead.
Pause.
Yeah. What can I buy right now with Bitcoin? You can buy a lot of things.
You can literally buy a ton of things. And I just want to say, Carlos, just real quick, you're asking, there are a lot, and I'll give you one example is the crypto.com card of cards that I'm able to top up with my Bitcoin, right? Or my other cryptocurrencies and swipe it, and it's taking Bitcoin. So I'm paying with Bitcoin. It doesn't matter that the card reader actually makes basically a transaction, in between. You are paying with Bitcoin. So at any event, continue. So it solves that problem, Miguel. Now let's talk about the other problem. It's kind of
hold on. I want to share something with my screen that is going to exactly explain what I'm saying, so I don't have to go word for word with it.
Pull it up.
Here we go. Here we are. Here it is, guys. Gold, US dollar, Bitcoin, right? These are the traits of money. Fungibility, interchangeable, high, right? Non-consumable, high, right? Moderate portability for gold obviously is a lot lower than fiat, right? But fiat and Bitcoin,
it's hard to carry it around.
Durable, right? Gold, practically indestructible, right? Very hard, also very hard to counterfeit. Oh, that's actually down here. The dollar, is not so durable. You get it wet and it deteriorates.
Burn it. Yeah.
You can burn it as well too, right? Highly divisible. This actually should be on low. This should not be on moderate because gold is not
well, you can melt it down and do it by literally micrograms.
Yeah, but that's a very hard process. The average person can't melt their gold down, right?
I agree.
So fiat, moderate, I would agree with that. Bitcoin, very high. You can go into the smallest Satoshi units to be able
which is for the beginner, Miguel, 100 million, correct? 100 million is a Satoshi.
Yes, 100 million Satoshis inside of one Bitcoin. Okay. So secure, right? Not very hard to counterfeit. Gold, right? Bitcoin. Bitcoin extremely high on this. Very difficult. You cannot create more Bitcoin at all. You can falsify some gold. You can definitely falsify fiat. I would say fiat is in a very low scheme on this end, right? It should not even be moderate. Easily transactable. Gold obviously is low. Fiat is high, and so is Bitcoin. So hold
on, let me pause right there. That real quick, that easily tractable. I actually heard, was it this morning? I heard either this morning or last night that there was $12 billion. I forget who it was, but somebody just asked in the chat a minute ago about I don't know who, I forget who it was, but Carlos was asking, what can I buy with Bitcoin? There was $12 billion of on-chain goods bought like yesterday or the day before. So like it's being used. Just be
it is. Africa is one of the biggest continents that people actually use Bitcoin as fiat, as peer-to-peer. How it's meant to be used. A lot of Cuba, they use it as peer-to-peer. A lot of other smaller countries are using it peer-to-peer. We live in a first world country where we have first world problems. It's not fast enough. Are you freaking kidding me? It's not fast enough. Come on, guys. Scarce, predictable supply. Gold, moderate. The supply of gold is very manipulated. Fiat, extremely low. Obviously, they can do whatever they want with this thing. Bitcoin, they cannot change that. 21 million. Once and for all. If you lose it, it's gone. There'll never be anything to replace that loss to Bitcoin. Government issued, obviously that's low for gold. That's also extremely low. That's this shouldn't even be low. This is like none. It's like
but that's a problem right there. The reason that it's not government, the reason that it's not sovereign is only because The government has understands that it is decentralized. The government understands that they don't have the ability essentially to take over control of it, and that's why that's low. We want that to be, we don't want it to be government issued, but we want it to be government accepted, and that's what we're trying to work towards.
But we don't want a government issued.
No, not issued. We want it government accepted.
Yeah. But that's not a trait of money. Being accepted by a government or not.
Well, you sure better be accepted by somebody, or it's not going to be money.
Well, of course, it's only accepted. It's accepted by the people, right? That's the thing that Bitcoin does. It's accepted by the people. It doesn't need to be accepted by the government. The government can ban Bitcoin tomorrow and say, we don't see Bitcoin as money, yada yada. But I can still send it to you, and you can still send it to me, and I can still buy whatever I want.
But we're asking for it to become mainstream, and for it to be in every portfolio, and for it to have all of these massive things.
That's also one of the problems.
The government is going to have to say, okay.
No, that's the problem with people. People are asking too much of the government. We don't need to ask the government shit. We tell them, hey, this is what we want, and this is what we use. You don't want to accept it, that's fine. We're opting out of the dollar. I'm buying with Bitcoin and Bitcoin only.
Listen, I'm with it. I'm on your team here, but that's just not a very realistic thing to expect people to do, because people are by nature freaking wimps. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's why we're in the shit show that we are in the world, and it's only going to get worse with time, right? What's the word? Convenience. Everything is about convenience in this world. So decentralized. Obviously, big gold is decentralized. Low. I would say that is false right here. This Bitcoin gold is not decentralized. It is very highly manipulated by the companies that mine it, and the amount of gold that is held by the United States alone is not low. So yes, Bitcoin decentralized high. The fiat and gold cannot compete against that. Programmable, obviously, gold and fiat are not, and Bitcoin is. And this is why Bitcoin defeats, even though this is low here, this is a good low. Being low in this category is good. So therefore, Bitcoin defeats fiat and gold in all aspects of what it is, a trait of money.
Right. So, okay. So we get to the point where we have all of this money that's been printed at this point. And like I said, we're at the point we went from good to bad, which is where we are. And we got our back up against the wall, and we are at ugly. And this is where I think you and I kind of disagree. You're talking about that heading downhill. It's an icy slope. You can't actually pump the brakes. You're going to spin out, right? So there's two options here. They print us into hyperinflation, which is absolute, just an awful thing. And we will lose our status as the world reserve currency at that point if it's actually hyperinflation. That's a fact, right? It's not even arguable. The other side of it is we put ourselves into a state of deflation, which absolutely crushes our economy, but raises the value of the dollar, which is what I think where we're going to head. I just don't know how or when, or not how. I don't know when they're going to be able, or when they're going to actually start jacking rates through the roof. The moment, if they would have said today, I'll give you an example of how this would work, Miguel. You always say, how are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? Well, it's simple. They literally could have came out today and said, hey, we are adding we're going to do a 5% rate hike, which first of all would be absolutely. I'm laughing. Right? I'm laughing because it would be ignorant, right? But hold on. But here's the only reason why I can see it happen. Not 5% rate hike on one hit, but I'm just saying, like, the reason that I could see it happening is because printing into hyperinflation loses our power and our status as the world reserve currency. Deflation crushes our own economy for some time, right? Like, it's not just going to go away right away. However, the big dogs will survive. That's all they're worried about. And our dollar starts to be valued more, and we keep our status as the world reserve currency. I just don't see how it goes the other way.
The government can't stop spending. So
it's not like smoking crack, Miguel.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that.
Taking a crack hit.
It's once you are at a level of debt that the United States is in, at the level of spending, they cannot stop. Right? There is no reverse to it. I have to bring it up. Richard Duncan. Anybody out here listening to this, look up Richard Duncan. He wrote a book, called The Dollar Crisis back in the 90s. He's been talking about it. I subscribed to one of his courses that he talked about what's happening. There is a metric. I literally always forget the name of this metric. I can never remember it for the name of my life, for the sake of my life.
Can't remember your name to save your life. Got it.
Yeah, right. So, but there is a metric that measures how much money manipulation and money printing can happen, and then that measurement shows, okay, you can push it this far and still bring it back, and the dollar will be okay. We are way past that threshold since 2014.
According to some guy that wrote a book.
It's not according to some guy. He's a legit economist. He's not just a random hack. He's been on and spoken with Robert Kiyosaki on his podcast.
Hey, listen, we're in the United States here. You can invent mRNA and get shut down and be called a random hack. Okay, so I don't think that it matters. But go ahead, continue.
Okay. Point is, the metric exists. We are past it since 2014, and that was a long time before this 40% money supply has occurred. Every empire has fallen at around 274 years of existence, and it's all been due to money manipulation. And you can only manipulate the currency for so long. No empire has ever manipulated their currency to extinction and then brought it back.
So this is where we're headed. So this is where we're headed right here, Garris. We would have to have a digital dollar to remain the world reserve and everything else to work. Here's the problem with that, Garris. You're right. I agree, and I think that Miguel and I are both going to be wrong. I don't think we're going to print into hyperinflation, and I also don't think we're going to be able to fully do what I'm saying and like literally full on pump the brakes and head us into deflation. I genuinely believe that we're both going to be wrong, and here's what I think is going to happen. We are going to have some catastrophic event. It's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. And ultimately it's going to be what you hear. And again, it's What If Wednesday. So like, is the Great Reset the time when you literally look around and all of a sudden, the debt, it's gone. We owe most of it to ourselves anyway. It's all freaking monopoly money at the point that it's not backed anymore by anything. It's not even it doesn't even have the intrinsic value like Bitcoin does. And so why could we not theoretically, as long as everyone, and here's why it's New World Order, because everyone has to agree on this. Because if they don't, right, then what? Because now you have a world reserve currency that is in the tank. And if everybody's not on board, so I don't know if any of you have ever looked into this, but the reality is the reason that you hear people say New World Order is because when it does happen, it does have to be, and this is one of the big complex problems of this is, hey, we're going to have to get China on board, or, you know, maybe not everybody, but almost everybody is going to have to be on board for this to really work the way that to actually wipe out that debt and to start back over.
So I want to bring this up, right?
And then it'll be a power struggle.
I completely agree, right? People think digital dollar and will solve the problem, and it will, right? It could potentially solve the problem. But the problem is when people think of digital dollar, they think it's just the dollar. It might, just because it has the word dollar, right, the same name as the physical fiat dollar, and now it's become digital dollar, they think it's the same product. It is not the same product. They are eliminating one and releasing a new product with the same name. It's not the same product. It's the same as if I digitize you, right? People talked about, what was that project that people talked about that they were digitizing themselves?
MetaHero?
MetaHero, yeah, there you go, right? Mm-hmm. I can digitize myself, I can digitize you, and we can create the perfect replicate of ourselves in the metaverse, right? Does that mean that that's the real me? That is the original me? No, right? So creating a digital dollar is the same exact concept. We're creating a new product based off an old product and killing the old product. And people are thinking, it's the same product. The dollar never died. The dollar did die.
We rely on that. Replicate. We rely on that, Miguel. We rely on it right now. Confusion. We've talked about this.
I know.
We rely on confusing people right now. The whole point is, who do I trust? Well, I don't freaking know. Who do you trust, right? You and I have talked about this before. And so I think that they're going to create the same exact issue as it relates to our money. Listen, people don't understand monetary policy. Let's be real. As well as you and I feel like we understand it, we don't understand monetary policy from the depths. We understand the basic, the economics, and can explain it and talk through it and all these things. But really, 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 I think if you pressed hard on both of us into some fine-tuned details of what happens left, right, sideways, whatever. Hey, listen, I don't have so much freaking pride and ego that says like I know everything and how it affects something else. I don't. But what I am saying is that they will rely on that confusion. They will rely on people to not just be sheep. Now, it's not even about that. It's about creating enough confusion, making it sound sophisticated enough, delivering that product as being a wonderful thing, a change for all of us, maybe even offering something like, listen, we're canceling all student, you've heard them talk about like student loans. We're canceling. I mean, guys, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. All I need you to do is I need you to turn in we need your Bitcoin wallet. We need this. We need a picture of you. You need to have this app installed on your phone. You need to have this barcode. You need to have your phone with you at all. And all of a sudden, I think it becomes that, that Chinese,
the digital dollar is
digital representation
to
of
social
yourself.
credit. It's to social credit, right? We talked about it around the blockchain today, right? There's this new bill that's been proposed to not just with the America Competes Act, right? Guys, look it up. And they try to slide in there trying to ban on crypto, the option to ban crypto or not, and to block transactions. What do you think is going to happen with programmable money? When you have programmable digital dollar, right?
Smart
that
contract,
is in the control of the government, they're going to tell you, okay, hey, here's a stimulus check. By the way, you can only spend this stimulus check on Amazon, Walmart, or whatever, Burger King, McDonald's at X, Y, and Z. By the way, you have 30 days to spend it. If you don't spend it, we are taking it away. It will come poof in your account, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Oh, you decided to spend it on McDonald's instead of Amazon. Ooh, we don't really look. We frown upon McDonald's a little bit right now. Your score is going to drop a little bit lower, right? Oh, you didn't spend your money on X, Y, or Z. You just left it disappear. Oh, that's not good. That's a big X right there for you, buddy. And you were you spent your money on here. You bought this product off Amazon. Ooh, we don't like you when you buy these products on Amazon.
It sounds so
going to be a social
chaotic.
credit.
It sounds so chaotic. When you say it, it sounds crazy as hell, right?
Dude.
When we speak this stuff out loud, right? It sounds nuts because it is nuts, right? But if you can't see the writing on the wall that listen, I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to be next year, but I don't think I think it'll be in our lifetime, right? And I think that we will slowly but surely, like we've talked about before, push you to the edge and grab your shirt and pull you back, and then push you a little closer and grab your shirt and pull you back. And then by the time you're literally falling off the edge and you look back, you don't even know how you got where you're at, right? And that's ultimately what's happening. They're trying to accustom us to being okay with, so think about it. Zelle, for example, that's Chase's form of like quick pay or whatever, where you send money from one person to the other. In Canada, they call it like e-pay or something like that. I think that's what they call it, right? And they basically put in an email address and boom, same idea, right? And so I think part of that is getting people used to not actually handling money. I do. I believe that let's take away the fact that we don't even have as many bills as we have actually on paper or whatever. Let's take that out of the equation. The reality is what happens. Hey, Venmo me. Hey, Cash App me. Hey, just Zelle me. Hey, send me some Bitcoin. Hey, send me some Ethereum. Whatever the case may be, I literally can instantly have money in any number of forms, and it's all digital, all of it. So when we do get rid of the dollar, it's not gonna feel that funky. I mean,
the only difference is
I don't even think the dope boys on the corner are really going to care. They're just going to be like, "Yo, what's up? What's good, homie?" And they're going to dap up and Bitcoin.
The only difference is between crypto and using Venmo, using all these things, is the restrictions that they're going to put on it, right? They can cancel your transaction. There's going to be fees to your transaction
on a digital dollar that's not Bitcoin Ethereum that's
Oh,
on a plot. No, I'm saying, I'm asking you, are you saying on a private blockchain that is like the United States freaking blockchain and they
yes,
are
like
able
the United
to
States
retract?
blockchain, right? The
Okay.
fiat,
Yes.
the digital dollar, right? If you have issues now with your bank when you try to withdraw certain amounts of money, right? When
Right.
you
Right.
try
Right.
to
Right. Right.
deposit certain amounts of
Mm-hmm.
money, when you try to buy a certain amount of crypto, it literally blocks your transaction. Oh, it's for your own safety, and that's not even programmable money. That is a bank trying to run this thing. When it becomes a programmable money, a smart
Mm-hmm.
contract, right, digital dollar, there's going to be way more restrictions. If you think you struggle now to find fiat on ramps for crypto, you're going to have way more issues, not just for crypto, but for your entire life with what you do with your money, because you are not a bank. You do not have control of your money. And now the government has literally put a new layer of control over your money. Bitcoin and crypto takes you away from that, gives you the sovereignty that you need to handle the money the way you want to. And nobody can stop a transaction between me and Nick right now. Absolutely no one. If we're
Right.
on a digital dollar, that transaction can be blocked.
Yeah.
If we're on Cash App or Venmo, whatever, that transaction can be blocked for whatever reason. Is it whether it's because they don't like our political views, they don't like us personally, I didn't pay a certain bill on time, and they say, well, if you didn't pay this bill on time and you're trying to send money to Nick, we're not going to allow that. You need to go pay this bill first, and we're going to block all your transactions anywhere else until you pay this thing off, right? They have complete control over what you do with your money. This is coming. You will have control of nothing. You will not control your life. They will control every single aspect of your life, and you won't even realize it.
Yeah, and Kryptonon, you're so right. Zell does. They say, "Hey, what's this for?" Right? And listen, it gets packaged as convenience. I'm going to tell you. So
Oh, and now
back
$600 transactions over $600 in Zelle, the IRS is going to be looking at that. They're going to
right.
say, why are you getting more than $600?
So check this out. So the so I've got my wife doing, before we meet with my accountant, my wife is getting all the 1099s out, getting all of the W9s for this year, 1099, doing all that, right? And I told my wife, she always gets on me and says, hey, whenever we write a check for the businesses, you need to write it down in a book. And I'm like, oh hell no, it's 2022. That's not happening, right? But now, so I Zell my employees, right? So I pay them, boom, boom, boom. Because guess what? When it's payday, I sit down, 20 minutes, boom, 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 boom. Account paid, and it's instant. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody's getting paid. And what Kryptonon was just saying is that they grill you about what it's for now, right? Well, now there is it gets packaged as being convenient. My accountant even says, hey, just Zell your employees, because at the end of the year, all you have to do is just look back and it's just boom. That like QuickBooks is tied in with Zell, and they just boom, and they just like they mesh, right? And that's where we're headed with the government is going to be meshed with whatever digital dollar that we end up kind of coming out with it. But the problem is exactly what Miguel's saying. They are going to be the ones in control. They will be the ones to be able to roll back the dial. They are going to be able to be the ones to program. What he's talking about is a smart contract, guys. When a smart contract executes, it's literally it's a person to it's just basically code written in to a contract that says if then. That's all it is. If this happens, then this. And he's right. If we have a private blockchain, i.e. the US blockchain, whatever, they do have the power to do that. And so now we're at, which is where we finally wanted to get, that this is the ugly, right? Have we, and it started with inflation. It then moved us to a point of we got to do something. This is not headed in the right direction. To, oh hey, see all that inflation? Look at this look at this great thing that we've done to solve it. Right? It's the Hegelian dialectic. Right? It's creating the problem which we've created, then getting someone used to a kind of an idea, and then serving up on a platter the solution, when in reality they wanted to serve that solution up to you all along because they already knew they had the problem. That's it. That's literally what we're doing. So
Exactly.
so anyway, crypto fam, listen, It is coming up on the end of the evening for us. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. Smash the likes. If you're not part of the DCA dojo, right? If you're not part of the Debate Crypto Academy, we would love to have you. We're giving away a full year of Market Cipher, which we're getting ready to do actually really soon, DCA fam. So we're excited to do that. Other than that, guys, we just appreciate all the support. We love each and every one of you. We see a lot of you in here all the time. Please continue to support, guys. Maybe we could start sharing out the stream. Let's try to get this from a normal 40 to 50 to 60 to 70, and then 80 to 90, and then let's try to keep it over 100. Let's try to continue to grow, get the message out of cryptocurrency and what it's doing to change my life, your life, Miguel's life, everybody's life. Let's
guys,
do
we would greatly appreciate it if you share this on Twitter, on Facebook, share it with your friends. Yeah. It would definitely help with the algorithm, not just hitting that like and blowing up the chat like you guys do every night, which we would greatly appreciate. But if you guys could share it on any social media platform, that would be greatly appreciated. The algorithm really likes it.
We appreciate each and every one of you guys. So until next time, guys, if nobody's told you before today, we love you. We hope you guys have a blessed evening. And until next time, hodl.